Hello everyone, this is Poonam Harjani, leader of Taxmann's Advisory and Research Support Services. GST is now almost on the verge of completing 5 years of its remarkable journey. And with this, we are also witnessing a surge in GST litigation. The matters are particularly on rise at the first appellate level. From a reading of Commissioner Appeals orders, we are noticing that the matters are being remanded back to the adjudication authorities in several instances. In today's video, we are examining the validity of Commissioner Appeals orders wherein the matters have been remanded back. So to do that, let me take you through the provisions of Section 107(11) of the Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. This provision lays down for the manner in which the Appellate Authority can pass its orders. And it reads as follows. The Appellate Authority shall, after making such further inquiry as may be necessary, pass such orders as it thinks just and proper, confirming, modifying, or annulling the decision or order appealed against, but shall not refer the case back to the adjudicating authority that passed the said decision or order. I'll once again read the bold part of this provision, but shall not refer the case back to the adjudicating authority that passed the said decision or order. So just by reading Section 107, subclause 11, it becomes clear that GST law is specifically prohibiting the Appellate Authority from remanding back the matters to the adjudication authorities. When we compare this with the pre-GST regime, under the Central Excise regime, prior to 2001, the Appellate Authorities had explicit powers to remand back the matters. In 2001, via a Finance Act amendment, Section 35A of the Central Excise Act was amended to remove such powers from the statute. So however, interestingly, even after the amendment, the practice of remanding back the matters by the Commissioner's Appeals continued on ground. And that practice was challenged in multiple cases. Till the High Court level, there was mixed jurisprudence on whether after 2001, the Commissioner Appeals had the powers to remand back or not. However, in 2007, the Supreme Court in Mill India's case came to a finding that post 2001 amendment in Section 35A, the Commissioner Appeals no longer had powers to remand back the matters. So having looked at the provisions of Section 107, subclause 11, and the pre-GST regime provisions, we can see that clearly there is a difference in the provisions under the pre-GST laws and under the GST law. So while at one point in time, the pre-GST law, the Central Excise Law, which it was initially providing such powers to remand back, later on those powers were removed. Under GST, the law categorically prohibits the Commissioner Appeals from remanding back the matters from day one itself. And it's not a matter of any interpretation. The provision is very clear and explicit, like we've seen. So evidently, the Commissioner Appeals orders that are being passed, remanding back the matters, are not in line with the statutory provisions. Having said that, we also acknowledge that it may be too onerous for the appellate authorities to come to categoric findings in each and every case, particularly if the principles of natural justice have not been followed, or the matter involves detailed scrutiny of facts which has not been carried out under the earlier adjudication level. So if the government indeed intends to allow the appellate authority to remand back the matters, the only way to do it is to bring an amendment in section 107 clause 11. And until it's done, the practice of remanding back the matters is definitely not in line with the statutory provisions under GST. The government may consider providing such powers to remand back in limited cases, like we have a specific provision under the customs law. But until such amendment is carried out, if the practice of remanding back the matters continues, it would only add another tier of litigation between the tax department and the taxpayers, which will prolong the litigations and delay justice. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your patient listening. A link for a detailed write-up on this topic is given in the description of this video. And to know more about Taxmann's advisory and research support services, do log on to www.taxmann.com/advisory. Thanks once again. Have a good day.